Hi, and welcome back to Always Something. I've just arrived at the doctor for my visit today, and if you saw yesterday's video, I told you about how I got diagnosed with a rare disease called microscopic polyangiitis. If you're me, you'd be getting pamphlets about that kind of stuff in the mail, and when you get these pamphlets, the kind of stuff it talks about is inflammation, and it says, let's see what it says here. It says, vasculitis is classified as an autoimmune disorder which occurs when uh, the body's natural defense system mistakenly attacks healthy tissues. So, what does that mean? Well, what that means is your immune system gets confused and it thinks that your healthy tissues in your body is any sort of virus. So instead, like if you get sick, if I get sick with anything, the flu, a cold, instead of treating my flu or my cold, it starts attacking me instead. So that can be a serious problem if I get sick. And so what they do is they put you on any sort of immunosuppression medication so that my body won't attack me. And that can also be a problem because the immunosuppression medication makes you vulnerable to getting sick. So any of the treatments for autoimmune disease can be just as harmful to the patient or me as the disease itself. So it's kind of a double-edged sword when you get sick with an autoimmune disease, and that can be rough. So it's no fun. It's not a good chronic illness to have. And they don't have any better treatments out at this time. The only other treatment that they do have is a steroid called prednisone that they also use in conjunction with immunosuppression medication. Luckily, I don't have to take a lot of prednisone right now, but I do take a little bit of it when I take my infusion medicine in order to help my body accept the infusion medication. Today, I'm going to show you I don't know how much I'll show you because there's not a lot of filming generally in doctor's offices, but I will tell you about the process of my primary care visit, how that goes for me today. And then tomorrow, I have a whole bunch more appointments that I can probably show you limited things and tell you about how that goes for me, as well as let you know what's going on with my surgery. And I have some prep for my surgery tomorrow, so I have no idea what that entails. I did labs last week for my appointment tomorrow, so I think maybe I have more labs tomorrow for my surgery. We'll see what's going on with that all tomorrow, but stay tuned and we'll figure it all out as I figure it all out. All right, I will talk to you soon. This is my exam room, typical exam room. I'll show you around. At least there's a window with a view. When you first go into a primary care visit, what they're going to do is take your vitals, and that includes putting on the blood pressure cuff and putting a heart rate monitor on your finger and also checking your temperature in your mouth. This is a standard practice at any doctor's appointment visit most of the time. Sometimes they'll take your blood pressure more than one time, but generally they normally only take it once. It depends on the doctor visit. This is definitely not anything to be nervous about. It's not super uncomfortable. It's pretty easy to do. And this was done with me today, and I'm sure it'll be done in my future appointments tomorrow. I just got finished with my doctor's visit. It was a great visit today. I'm so happy to have a primary care doctor who can help me coordinate all of my specialist visits. When you have a rare autoimmune disease, it's hard to coordinate all these specialists all by yourself. I didn't have a primary care physician when I first got sick with autoimmune disease. I did know I needed to go to specialists, but that's all I really knew. There wasn't anybody really to explain to you what you're supposed to do when you get sick with an autoimmune disease. At least there wasn't for me, because I was just in my 20s and I was trying to figure it all out all by myself. So I went to my specialist and I didn't really know about getting a primary care doctor. So I was coordinating all my specialists all alone. And then down the road, I finally did get a primary care doctor who sat and coordinated the specialists for me and helped me figure out communicating through all of them, which was great, because when you have a rare disease, you don't actually have just one doctor that you go see that's like, I am the specialist of your rare disease. That would be fantastic if one day that they actually had that, but currently that's not the case. So right now, I see several different doctors for each different organ that this disease can affect. It's really nice that you have a primary care doctor that can look at all those records and all those notes and really put it all together for you. And so if you're trying to do it all by yourself, it can just be way too much to deal with. So it's really good if you can find that one primary care doctor that's really good at understanding all that for you. So today, my primary care doctor looked at all the doctors that I've been to up until this point and asked me how everything was going and what she could do to help me in my future appointments coming up. And so I will follow up with her again after the new year once I've gone to even more appointments. And what did she do for me today? Well, she found me yet another doctor I have to go see about something else that I need to have done. And so that's fantastic. She's really good at really putting pieces together of this whole thing and coordinating all the stuff. That way I'm not sitting at home just like, oh my gosh, I need this and I need that, and where do I go and who do I call? So it's very important when you have a rare disease to find yourself a really good primary care doctor. I've got much more to come, and so I will check back in with you guys tomorrow. Goodbye for now. Good morning. It is the next day. I'm here to check in with my doctors at a new facility today. I have 2 appointments. Here's what the facility looks like behind me. When I'm done here today, I will be heading over to the hospital. I have to get ready for my surgery. I have no idea what's going to happen there, but I will let you guys know. And then after my appointments today, we'll talk about that and I will tell you how that goes too. So stay tuned and we'll have some conversations coming up. All right, so they keep you sitting in here and you have nothing to do but just like look around and check this out. What do you guys think is kept in this drawer? Put it in the comments. I found this really cool spot right next to my doctor's office. In fact, it's connected to the parking lot. I actually didn't even know it was here, but when you're looking for something to balance your doctor's appointments, it's surprising what you'll find and discover. So keep your eyes open and you'll see all kinds of neat stuff that you don't expect. Like when I was walking into my doctor's appointment, I discovered this really neat little, I don't even know what it was. It was like this fake little animal zoo of fake animals. I don't know. Take a look and you tell me what you think it was. I don't know if it was for kids or what, but very cool and inventive. Also, when I was walking into my doctor's appointments, the holiday decor was really, really cool. So, like I said, there's always something to just look at, and the artwork, another cool thing. I've had multiple primary care doctors look over this specific skin issue I've been dealing with, and they've been stumped as to how to treat it. So I went to a specialist to try and figure it out. I've had a couple treatments to try and fix it. None of them have worked. So we've tried other treatments to try and get it taken care of. Today we went back to a treatment I've done in the past, and hopefully this treatment will have it taken care of. I've also had some other situations that they were taking a look at, and they gave me some other types of things to try and get those sorted out. So hopefully we are on the path to healing. So next I will go in and I will see my nephrologist. He specifically deals with the kidneys. When my autoimmune disease flared in the beginning, I had problems with my kidneys. The change in my urine was an indicator that my kidneys were having trouble. And so since that happened, I've had to see a kidney doctor for the entire duration of my autoimmune disease. And so they monitor me. I have a local kidney doctor, and then I see a kidney doctor at the Mayo Clinic. So I have two of them. My local kidney doctor is staggered between my visits with my Mayo doctor, so that way if there is a problem going on with my autoimmune disease, hopefully one of them will catch it. And they do a very good job of making sure I'm okay. They are actually my main doctors that monitor my autoimmune disease, since I don't actually have a specialist for my autoimmune disease. And so they're really good that I have those doctors, and I will be seeing them next. I made it back to the car. I just finished with my nephrologist. It was a good visit today. My labs looked good. I'm super happy about that. We made a plan to meet up again for a follow-up visit next year. And now I'm on my way to the hospital, so I'll check back in when I get there. So I'm not at the hospital yet. The nerves have definitely started to kick in. So I decided to stop and I got myself a little bit of lunch. Our local H-E-B, if you guys are in the Texas area, they have some great prepared food that you can stop and get for lunch. So today I treated myself to a little bit of sushi. Here's what I got. They prepare it fresh every day, so I'm excited to have that today for my lunch. But before I begin my lunch, I wanted to tell you about my surgery before I get to the hospital. So where it all started was normally most people don't have to do mammograms before you get to your 40s. Some people do, but most of the time you normally wait. Since I have an autoimmune disease and I have there's a medical term for it, but basically I have lumpy breasts. And so they started doing mammograms and ultrasounds early for me on my boobs. And basically they found a fibroid in one of my boobs that they started monitoring. So I had a biopsy on that and it was determined to be benign at the time. So they kept monitoring it and they did it was 2 ultrasounds and they did 2 mammograms in the area to just check on it, make sure it wasn't growing, make sure it was still benign. I had this followed throughout multiple moves at multiple doctors. I started at Mayo Clinic, keeping an eye on it. My most current ultrasound and mammogram, everything looked good. It hadn't grown. They thought it was still benign. This was here in Texas. And they told me at the time that they didn't think I would have to keep monitoring it at this point, that there was just no changes. I'd been watching it for years. So that was a big relief to me. I was glad. I was like, okay, I'm done. And they basically thought that I was going to be done until I was 40. So I was like, yay, okay. And then I got COVID last month. And it, you know, I'm immunosuppressed. So I actually gave it to my boyfriend and he had it a less period of time than I did. And so, well, lucky me. But anyway, we both had it at the same time. I ended up having to go to the ER. And so when I went to the ER, they did EKG, they did a CT scan, and then they did, what was the other test? Anyway, I can't think of the other test right now, but it was the CT scan. They did that for my lungs because I was having shortness of breath and chest pains. And that's when they discovered I had COVID lung. So that was unrelated to this. But anyway, they said it was a really good thing that I had come in for all that because when they checked my CT scan, they had noticed that the mass in my breast had almost doubled in size. So that's when they told me that I needed to definitely not wait the 6 months to follow up on any of that, which I wasn't even supposed to follow up on any of that at all. And so they told me I should definitely follow up on that much sooner. So after I got out of the hospital, I contacted my primary care doctor. I let them know exactly what I was told at the ER. And then she contacted a surgeon for me for follow-up. So I followed up with that right away. Well, not right away. I had to wait till I was COVID negative. Luckily, I was COVID negative on Thanksgiving. That was my Thanksgiving gift. Yay! So I was able to go in, see the surgeon pretty quickly after Thanksgiving, talked to them. They did another ultrasound, showed me on the ultrasound and confirmed that yes, the mass had grown. So he had told me that basically if the mass is causing pain and growing, that's when you definitely have to have something like that removed. Other than that, if it's not growing, if it's not causing pain, you can keep it in there. It's no problem. But when it starts showing those symptoms, it's time to get it out. So I asked him, well, if it's benign, why is it growing? And he said, well, maybe it's not benign anymore. And so yikes, that's definitely not the news you want to hear. And so he said, you can't really know 100% sure if it is benign until they take it out. And then when they take it out, they can, look at it and do tests on it and figure out for sure if it's still benign or there is a rare chance that it is a cancerous tumor. So we're really hoping that that's not the case. But I mean, you just never know. And so that's kind of where we're at today. And so I have to go in today to kind of prep for all that. I don't know what the prep is, but I do that. And then next week is my actual surgery where they have it removed, and we'll go from there. So yes, the nerves are kicking in a little bit. I do get put out for the surgery, so I am lucky there. I won't have to experience any of that. They put stitches in after the surgery, and the stitches will fall out. And then I do follow up with the doctor about a week later. It's a week-long recovery. And then when I follow up with the doctor, he'll let me know if it is cancer or if it's still benign. So I guess these things do happen that, you know, they can change. And even when you have them biopsied, it's not 100%. So I'm learning as I go along, and I guess you guys are learning with me. So I'm going to enjoy my lunch. I'm going to enjoy this beautiful day. When you're in the South, it's all new to me. I've never lived in the South before, and this weather is fantastic. The sun decided to come out, so I'm just going to take it in and try and have some deep breaths before I head over there. And then I'll check back in with you guys when I get there. So I'll see you then. Just arrived at the hospital. It took about 3 hours between my last 2 doctor visits, the last doctor's office. So allow plenty of time in between doctors if you have multiple doctors in one day. I don't know how long this doctor visit's going to take. I've never done anything like this before. I think that's part of the nerves. Sometimes it's easier when you know what to expect. So wish me luck, and I will check back in later. Gosh. All right. I am all done for the day. Oh my gosh, my heart. All right, so what happened? I went in there and they took me into a room. It was the registration room, and they had me do a bunch of paperwork. And I was like, all right, that's it. We're done. We were not done. I was hoping we were done. And so they took me back down the hallway, the first hallway that I had actually walked through to go do the paperwork. And we did go to a lab department where she drew my blood, and she gave me this handy dandy folder. And this is my surgery information. So I am to bring this with me when I actually go to my surgery. Come to find out, I am not doing my surgery here at this location like I thought. It's the hospital you saw in my intro video. So again, if you haven't seen that, check that out. It has that healing garden, and I really like it there. So at least I'll be a little bit more comfortable in a familiar space, easy to locate. So that makes me feel good. Hopefully that'll make the nerves a little bit less the day that I go in. I did have to get labs drawn. I think I had mentioned that. So I don't know exactly what labs they look for, but I'm thinking that they're going to be good, just like my other labs. So I'm not too worried about that. I have a nurse that's going to call me, and she's going to tell me the exact time of my surgery, and I don't find that out until a couple days before. And then they gave me a special soap I have to use before my surgery. I'm not allowed to wear certain things, and special instructions. They're all in here. So I have to follow all that and prep. So I guess we'll show you what we can show you that day. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to film or how I'm going to be feeling since I'm going to be knocked out. So, oh my gosh, but we will do the best we can. So stay tuned for that video coming up in the next vlog. And thanks for staying tuned for this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this kind of content. And I appreciate you all so much. See you next time.